drop or what, but we're here.
All right, cool. Everything's good. All right. Dope. Hello. Welcome to episode 225, Feeling Alive of the Super Whip Podcast, most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy, Darius the Artist, and as always, got my co-host DC here with me today.
What up, though? So,
Happy Sunday, man.
I happy Sunday. I hate to start it off like this, but I want to jump into something real quick. It's been a long week, and I just want to show some love to some people who need some love. We don't really need to say names here, but two of my managers lost someone very, very close to them. I just want to send out blessings and condolences to them. It's been a rough one.
Yeah.
And I want to send love out to Atlanta. We lost one of our very own legendary rappers. And yeah, it's just been a weird week. So I just want to send positive energy, love, and condolences to people in their time of need, because it was kind of just a sombering week, if you will.
Yeah.
It's just been, and I just want to put emphasis on, loving your loved ones, man. And as much as we say it and cliche as it sounds, it really is like you could be gone in the blink of an eye. Like, you just don't know. I can walk out of this pod and a tree fall on me. Like, it could be some of the most random stuff. So just take time to appreciate those who are here, everyone in our audience, all you guys who tap in, the weenies, the flakes, his wife, you know what I'm saying? Everyone, Tori, Dark Star, everybody who come in here, Bangle, whoever else we forgot. I just want to send out some appreciation, man. Some appreciation. You guys come and rock with us. And, life it's not granted, bro. So I just want to, you too, man. Like, we make this thing work. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man.
Life your
is
wife,
fleeting.
your family, even your misfit child, who I'm going to
We don't talk about that. Nah, man, we don't talk about her. It's fine.
Yeah. But no, I can't. But yeah. I'm going to fight her. But also, since we're talking about that too, one more thing before this little house cleaning extravaganza ends. Hey, man, our guy did it again. Modest Thomas over here, aka Darius the Artist. Here we go. Shut up and let me give you your flowers. Darius has yet passed another crucial piece in his evolution to become a tech god. What did you do? What did you pass? Come on, give it up. Give some sauce up, man. Give some sauce up to the people. Man.
Yeah, that's why
we moved. Wait. We moved our date to Sunday because he had a test yesterday. That's why we switched it to today.
Yeah.
So Darius, give us a little scoop, man. Don't be modest, man. Come on, you work hard for this shit. You study your ass off.
Yeah, so I passed the CompTIA Security Plus certification yesterday, insert applause and all that good jazz.
Let's go.
It was a pretty tough test, I think. Well, let me not say it was. I don't think it was as hard as the one I did before, but I'm happy to have finally gotten the certification because it's one that I've wanted for a long time, and it's one that's kind of looked at really well, on the resume in the IT industry.
Let's go.
So
let's go.
Very, very, thankful and
another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah,
right?
Just another small piece, man. It was.
Add to the LinkedIn. Let me tell y'all something right now.
Yeah, I gotta update.
It ain't Facebook.
Hey, okay.
Let's go. No, we here. It ain't Facebook. Stop trying to add people if you don't have nothing in common or your goals don't reach the same way. Like, we're not here to socialize, man. LinkedIn is to be LinkedIn.
I'll just say this much, man. I'm very, very focused on hitting a certain goal for not just for myself, but like my family and everything, and even for you guys too, man. Like, if I can be a source of motivation for my friends and the people around me, that's really like a big thing for me. And I say it all the time, man. Glory to God, man. Just very thankful that just like DC said, man. Life is not promised for a lot of us, and
Big glory.
You know, it can be hard, and you know, former manager of mine, yep, she did lose somebody very close to her, and you know, it's tough. No matter how ready you think you are for those things to happen in life, you never will be. And you know, I always try to be reminded of that. And you know, it's why I work so hard every day. And you know, we were kind of talking
Working
about it
hard.
yesterday off of the just like in Discord yesterday. No matter what you do in life, guys, like just put your all into it. It doesn't matter what you want to do with your life. Just be a good person. You know, put good energy out, and you know, work hard, man, because life is hard enough as it is, especially for us in the U.S. I don't know if we have many international listeners, but if we do, I'm sure you guys understand, and you know how just hard it is just to live a normal life out here. And you know, tech isn't only escape for poverty for me and my family, but it's something that I actually am just like holistically interested in. So yeah,
And it's great when it work out that way, right?
yeah, man. You know,
You
so
genuinely, it makes it a little easier when you actually are into what you do. You know,
yeah,
like I talk about that's kind of why I landed on ethical hacking, because
right.
I just felt like I like to kind of, for a lack of better terms, I like to break shit. I like to see how things work. I like
You
to break
do,
things
yeah,
down.
yeah. That's definitely right up
Like
your alley, man, for sure.
I spent literally 4 hours yesterday, and I'm not proud of this, researching Rolls Royce Cullinan, because I found the tech in the vehicle to be so freaking interesting.
Yeah.
And now I see why that vehicle is so expensive. But this is not a car podcast. We are a
I
gaming
mean, that's all right,
podcast.
man. I mean, it's really just because I
It just
do
comes down to sensor tech. I'll say that.
I do appreciate these types of conversations. You know, just the humanity of it, the humaneness, if
Right.
you will, of because we don't really talk a lot about our personal lives on the podcast, and you know, for one reason or another, you know, but I think it's good to have some sort of connection with our audience because I know that, you know, we talk to and are friends with a lot of people that listen, and you know, we kind of have an idea of what people may or may not have going on in life, and I think it's good to spread good news and to share good news. I'm trying to get better about that. And you know, it's funny because you and my wife say the same thing a lot about me. Like I don't really
You're a recluse.
I don't really celebrate my wins, if you will, quote unquote.
Modest Thomas, bro.
I
I'm gonna get
just,
you every time. Just know, every time you pass something, I'm coming on the show, and I'm
you
being an
know,
ass about it. Right?
you know,
Got to give you them flowers, man. You work hard, man.
I do,
You gotta
man.
pat yourself on the back,
I
man.
try
You
to,
know, you don't give up.
I'll say this much. Like I did allow myself a little bit of relaxation yesterday. You know, went out with the family after the test and ate some good food, played some
Came and
games. Yeah.
played some games with the homies.
And then, you know, just kind of passed out after that. And now today it's just like the way my brain works. I don't know. Like today I'm like, okay, you had your fun, motherfucker. Get back to it. Now you gotta
Yeah, you're hyper focused.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Long as you know your body, you know
Yeah.
when you need to tap out, when you're not retaining the information that you're for the knowledge that you're seeking, because that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're not retaining it, then it's like you kind of know that you're burning yourself out and you may need to step away from it. But
Yeah.
I
And
think
I
I
haven't hit
think
that quite yet, which is good. Like as I've gotten older,
I think your
you
determination
know, but
comes a lot from the things that are happening. Because what I mean by that is life isn't guaranteed.
no.
So you want to kind of give it your all because you just never know.
And honestly, I
So
think you're right about that because, you know, since my mom passed, I haven't really talked about it that much. Like I've been kind of dealing with that stuff. Like, but I really do feel like that was the biggest turning point for me in my adult life. You know, not saying before I wasn't motivated to succeed or anything like that. Because I mean, you know, went to school, went to college, just like you know, us and our friends did, got our degrees and all that. You know, pull yourself up by your bootstrap bullshit. But excuse my language. But
let it fly, brother.
you know, I think that, yeah, I struggle to remember what I was like before that, before she passed.
Right.
And I try not to focus too much on that because then I'll start to, I guess, lose focus on what it is that I should be doing. And I feel like that's kind of her, keeping my head straight forward instead of looking down or looking back. It's weird. Like I said, I try not to talk about too much because I'll start getting all emotional and shit. But
oh yeah, I definitely trust me.
Yeah,
trust me. We can turn this into a cry pod. All right?
I try not to.
If you start crying, then I'm gonna cry. So everybody's gonna fucking cry in there. We're gonna have a nice cryy Sunday. But I understand, man. Yeah. It's the hunger for more. It's the hunger for more. It's like I always say, like, what else is there to do? To me, it sounds crazy, but it's really that simple.
Yeah.
It's like you're on this earth. Why you just want to be regular?
Right.
Whatever your goals is, we're not saying everyone has to have the same goals. You don't have to have the same motivation but find your lane, whatever that is. Find your lane and just master that shit. Whatever it can be, whatever. One shoe doesn't fit all, but my whole thing is don't be stagnant.
Yeah.
Don't get comfortable. Don't be stagnant because that job that you got could be gone. Life comes and goes. Like, so it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff that's been on my mind personally. As I grow older, I'm like, what is my legacy? Like if I died today, like what would people know me for? I am so obsessed with that. I might have a problem because I think about that shit 23 hours out of the day. Like if I just was to pass away, like what would my friends say about me?
How do people view you as you as the person you were and not? It's just it's tough, man.
I will say this. Whatever plan God has for me, God forbids if I croak anytime soon. I'd only have one request. And my mother's probably listening. She know what it is. You make me a nice, fat peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, man. Put it in the casket?
And you put that shit in my casket. Y'all hear me and hear me well. I'm saying this again. I want, before I get to heaven, somebody better put a sandwich in my coffin. Okay?
Oh, my gosh,
That's my final request. I'm going to put it in my will as well. I just want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's so funny, man. I mean,
my favorite snack.
We'll honor that request, man. No matter who's here to honor it, we'll make sure it's happening. Better be dry bread. Yeah, no wet bread for DC, man. That might actually make him get up out the casket.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that because Weenie over the years have become one of our good friends, man, and we appreciate you and we enjoy having you around, man. I want you to know that from me to you.
So funny, man.
I'll never say horny horn again.
Oh my god. We were doing.
I had to get it out one good time, one last time.
Yeah, I mean, it's we quote unquote talk about only video games and blah blah, but I think it's okay to be human, man. This could just be a podcast. I mean, we've been doing this shit for 225 episodes at this point, right? Like, I mean, God, you know what I mean? Like we can talk about what the hell we want on here, man. Like whatever the audience wants to hear, man. I don't care. I'm at that point. As long as we're having good fun, as long as I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, as long as we're enjoying ourselves, man. Like, and I could talk about this stuff all day. Be quite honest. Like it's just like you. Like I think about that stuff. Just damn near 24/7. Talk to my wife about it a lot. Like it's something that's constant. Is as you get older, man, you want to be a good person. Or most people do. Not everybody, of course, but, you want to be successful. Have some measure of success to make your life mean something as we all just kind of float on this big rock in the middle of space. Like, what's the meaning behind all of it?
Yeah. And I think, because my, younger members in my family, like my nieces and nephews, it's just always like, uncle was this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be like the uncle that nobody talks about because he was like weird or something. Like, I just think about little weird stuff like that. Like, am I setting a good example? And
Right, exactly.
try to break the cycles. Try to break these cycles that we go through. You know,
You
and
know,
just be a better person, man. It's already enough bullshit in the world, man.
it's enough
It's
bad
enough.
and evil stuff and people out here. You got earthquakes in Bangkok, man. You know, prayers to those people. Like it's all there's already enough bad out here, man. If we can have people come here, have fun. Hell, if you even say you learned something, that'd be cool too. You don't have to, but you know, if you learn something, and even if it's about yourself, man, that makes me happy. Like I'll be happy with that. So
Yeah, if I could say I changed one person,
right,
or
yeah,
just created, if even if we created a space for people to kind of escape for one
yes,
hour, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, man. I feel like I'm contributing something positive to society. You know what I'm saying?
that's
There's just a lot
important,
of
man.
bullshit out here, and yeah,
Be the
come to our
light
happy
in the
space, man.
be the light in the darkness, as they said in that one Will Smith movie. But,
Church.
but you know who else is trying to be
Mm.
some change? Who's trying to have some change right now? It's Ubisoft, man. They're changing a lot.
Segway king. All right. No one segs more than this guy. All right.
You know, just Ubisoft and their oh man.
They
So
going through it, huh?
man, I don't know what to
Was
really
Assassin's Creed
expect.
sales not good enough?
We're gonna talk about it too. So okay, so let's just get into it, right? So Ubisoft announced, even after the seemingly great sales of Assassin's Creed, right? Even though we're gonna talk about wording here in a second, but so they made an announcement that Tencent is essentially becoming a minority owner in a subsidiary company. That is so that, from what I understand reading this, Ubisoft is still going to control this subsidiary company, and they're spinning off three, arguably if not their biggest brands at this point, some of their biggest gaming brands: Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six brands, not just Rainbow Six Siege. I actually looked into this a little bit more. So, Tencent is investing $1.3 billion for a 25% stake, which will, according to this article I read, it's going to have a valuation of $4.3 billion. There's no new name for
Mm.
this entity yet, but they are essentially moving all teams associated with the development of games behind these franchises into this subsidiary company. And I guess we'll see what the hell happens with this, man. This is I can't say I'm surprised at this point with Ubisoft, because just like you just mentioned, right? Like with Assassin's Creed, I find it funny that whenever we get reports for game success from companies, it's usually one of two things. They'll either say a specific number of copies sold, or
Mm.
they'll take what I call the Microsoft route now, where they'll say, hey, we had X number, X million number of players, instead of saying how many copies were sold, because according to Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Shadows had, I think, 3 million players in the first week. Cause it's been out for about a week now, right? If I remember correctly, it came out about a week ago. And I had to keep in mind that they had that Ubisoft Plus service, which is kind of like Game Pass for them. And I wonder
Right.
how much of that is contributing to the quote unquote success of the game. And I'll even go as far as to say this much: I think this would have happened either way. Assassin's Creed probably could have sold 5 million copies, and I feel like this was going to happen. This is something that I think has been in the air for a number of years for Ubisoft. There's been, we've reported on stuff before where there was alleged that they might sell the company off, that the Guillemot brothers might sell the company off, that they might have a hostile takeover, and Tencent was one of the companies that was rumored to be trying to just buy them outright.
Mm.
But maybe Ubisoft is looking at this like this is a potential win for them to kind of stave off, try to remain some sort of autonomy of themselves and not just become absorbed by Tencent, because Tencent is actually, I think, the largest game publisher right now, next to Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken. They are gigantic in the game industry right now. It's actually pretty
And
insane.
could we say that's why we're seeing like the micro transactions being put in the game because they feel that they need to kind of milk this entry? Like
No.
I'm looking at it as, you know, I always just feel like, how can I put this? With single player games, I feel like there's a new resurgence afoot.
Yeah.
Like I feel like publishers and stuff are trying to find ways, even though these franchises are solidified, even though Assassin's Creed the series has had its ups and downs for the last couple of entries. I feel like we're seeing them trying to find ways to make money with their great single player like franchises. Like moving forward, I can see like even like God of War, some of these big games kind of doing that as well because once again, we talk about it a billion times on this show. Like it's getting harder and harder and harder for games as a whole to either break even or make more than what they were expecting to make. And I look at this like it has to do with money, right? Like they're trying to figure out what's the best way we can make more money. If you just break it down, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I'm not going to say it's a bad thing first cuz usually once people get obsessed with the money part, it kind of takes away and diminish whatever the game used to be because they start cutting
Yeah.
corners, they start rushing to get things out, and then they're like, oh well, we'll patch it later, but we just need to make this date before the holiday season or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm not so quick to say that making money is a bad thing, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're making moves like this, usually that comes with people being fired or more people being added, or like it could be bad for the game.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm saying. It could be bad for future installments of Assassin's Creed. And from what I've seen from this Assassin's Creed, the last Assassin's Creed I played was Black Flag, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the boat combat. Like I think it's very slept on,
Yeah.
but that was the last one I played. This one, I've been watching a lot of people stream it. I've a couple of friends of ours had early access on stream. I was watching it then, and I wouldn't mind if I have the time. I wouldn't mind playing it at all. It looks like a very solid game, but I wonder what that translates to in sales. And then if with all this reconstruction, because that's the word, right? Whenever you hear reconstruction, especially in the gaming industry, it's a little shaky. So for the next couple of Ubisoft games, I'm gonna be kind of looking at it really, really closely to see what the temperature is, how people are reacting to it, if they're
Yeah.
skimming on stuff, how it looks, how it plays. Because I don't want it to be, but there will. I feel like in my heart there will be a noticeable difference in future titles released with all this moving around and reconstruction that they're doing.
I agree. And I'll say this much. I think that to answer the question you said about the microtransactions in other titles before this one,
Mm-hmm.
when they started to shift more towards the RPG elements of Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed, that's when you started to see the Ubisoft store leak into the. So they've had, I mean, I think even as far back as what was the one that was in Egypt? It wasn't Odyssey. It was, I can't remember the name of that one. Somebody in chat will tell me, because I remember playing that one, and that one had microtransactions in it. And I think the current state,
really,
yeah, oh yeah, it was a big deal back then too. I think the current state of Ubisoft is they have themselves to blame for even having to resort to things like this. We've had, in my personal opinion, too many Assassin's Creed games. If we just talk about just these franchises, right? Like, let's just hone in on the Tom Clancy brand, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry. in my personal opinion, I think that what they should do is maybe shelf Assassin's Creed for the remainder of this generation at least. Because I think the next game, because I remember last year, it was like a couple years ago, they announced a few different games like that they were developing. It was three. It was this one, I think. It wasn't Valhalla. I think it was maybe that smaller title that they released, and then it was Assassin's Creed Hex, which people are speculating is supposed to be something like a witch themed one. But my personal opinion, I feel like Assassin's Creed has started to kind of hit that same issue that they had before. They started to focus on the RPG elements where people are starting to get fatigued with the franchise. You're starting to get.
It's definitely not a game that.
I mean, because
as big as those games are, they should not be coming out every year.
Because you think about it, right? We've had 3 Assassin's Creed games this past generation, and just like you said, right? Like every couple of years, we'll get some of these, and I would prefer a smaller, more compact Assassin's Creed game with some sort of innovation on top. What that would look like, your guess is as good as mine, right? But I feel like we're getting to a point where they have their templates. I remember even watching a documentary about Assassin's Creed years ago where they talked about how they share their technology between the studios, and they have essentially templates that allow them to build cities very quickly. You know, combat, like a lot of this stuff was ported over from game to game to game, and I don't think that would necessarily be a bad thing if there wasn't so much what people like to call the Ubisoft bloat in these games, or map clearing. You're just trying to clear icons off the map, and all of that stuff. And I think that while this game seems to have reviewed very well, and a lot of people seem to like it, just, hey, what's going on, Darkstar? Just like Darkstar said, he's enjoying it as well. I think the game looks good. But what does, once again, just like you said, right, what does a measure of success actually look like for companies or for a board of directors that, a game, like I said, we haven't gotten a number of copies sold. We got a number of players that are playing. And that could be good or bad, depending on how you look at it, right? But I think, like I said, I think that no matter what happened with Assassin's Creed Shadows, this was going to happen. Ubisoft was going to have to make a decision. They were either going to sell off all of their IP, or they were going to enter a partnership with someone like like they have, right? And we could look at like Rainbow Six or Tom Clancy. Excuse me. And I think Siege is poised for a big comeback to mainstream gaming. I'm not going to say like it's going to come back like people haven't been playing it, because a lot of people still play the game. The esports scene is still alive and thriving. And I wonder if Tencent is looking at that part of the Tom Clancy brand, if they wanted to invest in not just game development, but also other forms of media and entertainment, just like look at what Sony's doing right now. Like we've talked about Sony, we've talked about Microsoft and their investments into TV in the last couple of years, their investments into movies in the last couple of years. I can imagine that we'll start to see some sort of investment in that realm, or at least I hope so, right, from this new subsidiary, which once again, we don't know the name of it is. They said that, because I have the official press release in front of me, and they said that they don't expect this will be done until the end of the year. And we got another Division game coming out, right? Like, what's that going to look like as far as microtransactions? They've already announced Division 3. I don't think we'll see it for quite a while, but, I mean, microtransactions can make or break a live service game, man. Like, we've talked about live service to death on this podcast, and
they've been the topic.
Yeah, they've been
definitely. We're not talking for a reason. They definitely. I feel like people since the dawn of time in Destiny, they've been trying to figure out how can we get live service games right, because if we get it right, there's a possibility that we can shovel a lot of microtransactions in here and make more money.
How do we get players to invest in the ecosystem and
Destiny, and then obviously the big one was GTA. GTA really set the standard for Microsoft. I mean, I said Microsoft. Damn. Microtransactions.
Yeah.
GTA has set the bar.
Right.
And that's going to, I swear, we're going to have a side episode, even if it's just me. And I'm going to give you my whole GTA 6 breakdown since people want to keep talking about it all the damn time. But that's another time. But yeah, I feel like once again, we're in the same situation we've been in for the last 100 pod episodes. There's going to be the machine, the corporate machine that that's always thinking about money. Then you're going to have the passionate, working hard, thriving developers who have a vision, who have a dream. Like you got to understand these developers go in here and they're battling to get their dream on the big screen.
It's like, always give and take for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What people don't understand is I've read articles and stuff where the dev team has this laid out, flushed out plan. I don't quote me on this because I believe it happened with Infinite, if I'm not mistaken. But they're like, hey, we got to meet this date, so cut this, and this out.
Oh yeah, like, Infinite was infamous for it because they wanted to hit that 20-year anniversary for Halo with the launch of the Series X. That's what screwed Halo over.
Yeah. So they're like, you got this. Hey, well, we're gonna put space combat. We're gonna have Master Chief doing this and that, and they like, they telling the publishers, hey, we need a little bit more time to polish this, and they're like, nah, we don't have time, dog. Go ahead and take that out, big dog. Like, what? We got to meet this November date. We got the anniversary coming up. We would love for the game to drop then. Maybe we'll add it on later as a DLC or a patch update. Like these are conversations that's happening in the background, believe it or not. And you got to think, let's just say, matter of fact, I mean, you could use me for example. I'm a graphic designer. Like I get told all the time, hey, sometimes you got to simplify that shit. Just you gotta simplify that shit because we got more shit to work on. You can't spend too much time on this, right? So yeah, it's the behind the scenes stuff, why we're here and why we do this podcast, and it kind of to give you a broader horizon. Just think that it takes a lot for the game to come from them and then get on the screen, and you just play it and then we judge it and we be assholes about it, or whatever the case may be. But hopefully, man, in the near future, hopefully these companies find a way to have balance. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, and I hope this investment does allow them the ability to have longer dev cycles. And, we can kind of touch on what Ubisoft you said about like God of War, right?
Whooped.
Yeah, we could touch on that. Like, I think it's interesting that PlayStation, and they just recently had another reshuffling of their top level leadership. I think that has a lot to do with their current bareness this generation when it comes to first party. Because you even had Naughty Dog come out and say not to expect their next game before 2027. I'm not surprised by that, but I mean, you're going to be talking about 8 years between games for them? Because The Last of Us 2 came out 2019, right? Like, and if they launch that game in 2027, it'll be 8 years later. And I think that first of all, just like we always talk, I think dev cycles are way too long, but I'll give Sony first party their flowers when it comes to, we know the quality of the games that they release, and they're typically trying to push the envelope, whether that's in storytelling, gameplay, graphical fidelity, or a mix of all three. But with Ubisoft, like I said, lately it's just, quantity over quality. And maybe they're trying to course correct on that. I don't feel like Assassin's Creed is fine. The game's fine. It reviewed very well despite the grifters and the angry mob on the internet. But I wonder if people are going to look back on this game later this year as we, continue to go through the year and more games are released. How high on people's game of the year list this is going to be, or if this is just going to be another. This was a really good game I played, but I think those types of conversations are being listened to by developers. I mean, even the last Far Cry that came out wasn't. I don't think it was even looked upon. What was the last Far Cry? Hold on, guys. Was it Far Cry 6, right?
It was with the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it was 2021 the last Far Cry came out. Yeah. So it's been 4 years since we've had a Far Cry game. I don't know when. I don't think they've said anything about the next one, which is good or bad, depending on how you want to look at it. But we'll see where they kind of take this franchise, because this went from being one of Ubisoft's like biggest franchises to, once again, another series that people were kind of looking at like, there's not really a huge change in the gameplay, but we got a different location to kind of.
I feel like it's fillers, bro. Like, I was a person who played the last couple entries to the last couple of Far Cries, and I could say it from a personal standpoint. The shit really feels like copy pasta. Like, it really feels like they just was like, hey, we're going to take all this over here and we're just going to rearrange some things. Like, I did not feel like I was playing a new experience at all.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt like a reskin. There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It felt like a reskin game.
Mm-hmm. You kind of know what you're going to get, man. And, with that, it's just, because did they make a Far Cry movie? They made some sort of Far Cry. Let's see. Yeah, it was in 2008. I knew I wasn't crazy. There was an actual Far Cry movie, and it was awful.
Really?
Yeah, there's an actual Far Cry film. I remember watching this in high school.
Probably a reason why that skipped my.
Yeah, this movie is absolutely awful. I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. And it's like stuff like this, right? Like, do they think that they can get back on the horse with this kind of stuff? Like, honestly, I think the series that has the best chance of like making that transmedia jump is something like Division. Or
Division, if done right, can be an amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It can be an amazing movie. Division has a very good story. Yeah. I've always enjoyed. I think Division is one of the titles in Ubisoft's lineup that I've always enjoyed. But see, even with Ubisoft,
I'm laughing at video. Sorry, I'm laughing.
I see it in the comments. 3.2.
Yeah, yikes. It is a awful movie, man. If you guys ever just want to watch some terrible game film from back in the day, yeah, go ahead and watch it, man. It's.
Hey, look, it's a yin and a yang. If you want to watch something terrible, watch that.
Gosh,
watch that god awful movie.
That movie's terrible.
But if you want to watch some good animation, Rock and Rule, just throwing that out there, bro. Go ahead and watch Rock and Rule. It's a 1983 Canadian adult animated musical.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know the word for it, but
yeah,
it's very eclectic. I love it. Like, it has just this old school 80s rock feel to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just so weird, man. But I love it. I love that movie.
Yeah, nobody heard about it, man, because it was that bad. And I mean, like, this was back.
What Far Cry was out at that time? That's when it was heavy.
That was PC, around Far
right?
Cry, because Far Cry 2 came out Far Cry 2 came out in 2008. The first Far Cry came out in 2004. I remember playing Far Cry. Let me see, which one was 3? Oh, that was the one with the one guy. Do you remember the definition of insanity? Yeah. See, I played the first 2 Far Cries when I was younger and loved them, man. That's why I watched the movie. I was like, oh man, this is great. Just a young, naive Darius wanting to watch it. And I just don't know how this would make the jump nowadays. Like, without it being so hokey, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like, and then, I mean, you got to think about like other things in Tom Clancy's brand too, Ghost Recon, which, fell off the face of the earth after the last game that came out. you're in like the jungle. I can't remember what it was. It was terrible.
You talking about what was that game?
Breakpoint. Thank you, Weenie. Yes, Breakpoint. Yeah, it was awful. It was absolutely terrible.
If you take all the games, Ubisoft games for the last decade, and play them, the problem we're having here is they all feel the same.
They're samey, yes.
I think the only thing that stood out kind of on its own was the fighting the what was that game?
What you talking about the fight? The fighting game, right?
With the damn, they just had an expansion for it. It's low key. I call
For
it
Honor. Holy cow!
Yeah,
For Honor. Yeah.
For Honor was the only game that kind of stepped out of the Ubisoft formula,
yeah,
so to speak. Because these games, like I'm telling you, it's been a gripe. It's not just me. It's been a gripe from the gaming community as well about Ubisoft and the way that their games feel. Like all their games from the, I guess it's from the HUD, the UI, the way like even menu selections and everything. It feels really.
It's all samey.
Yeah, they explained it when they said, we're just tossing assets over from this to that to kind of save us time, because they do come out with these games at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And I think they need to change that model. I think they really need to reconsider the way that they're putting out their games.
I do too, man. I think just let them breathe. Like give developers a little bit more time to explore ideas. And I mean, with them kind of clearing out some of their leadership from that whole scandal with people not keeping their hands to themselves at Ubisoft. Hopefully we'll see some actual change in their games. You didn't play the Division, Weenie? Did you not play Division 1 or 2?
Games.
Yeah.
Division, Weenie, like, look.
Division 1 and 2 they were good. They were really good. And they even came out with like a little animated short film where kind of like explained the backstory. I don't think Division kind of I'm gonna be honest, like maybe it's good Division gets some distance away from 2020, because the whole thing with Division was there was a virus that spread, and that whole chestnut. I'm hoping we'll see something farther removed, like maybe like a time skip in the Division universe. I think that would be pretty cool. Like maybe show the world how the world is recovering from the pandemic that it had in game. Maybe like 10 years or something in a different city.
Didn't they predict? Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, like it was just the timing on that was kind of unfortunate, which is crazy. But I mean, I think they're pretty cheap, usually on sale, man. If I can get back in my Ubisoft account, we can play sometime, man. If I can get access to that, please, Ubisoft, if you can hear me, help me.
Do we have to sweet talk your games to get him back in?
I love all your games.
They are great.
They're revolutionary.
Oh, man. I've never played something so revolutionary.
Yeah. Speaking of Darkstar, if you're still here, how are you liking Assassin's Creed at this point? Are there any gripes you may have with the game? Have you unlocked Yasuke? Because like I said, I've heard that it takes quite a while to get him in. It takes. I've been seeing upwards of 10 hours to unlock him, which is just absolutely insane. But yeah, it's like 10 hours to unlock Yasuke. Let me see. How long does it take to? Google will tell us the answer.
Because Google, you know everything. You are my friend.
Yeah, people are saying 10 to 15 hours in, that's just. My goodness, man. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think the double protagonist thing, they've done pretty well. Some of the stuff I've seen that I like about Assassin's Creed Shadows is the environmental, like how the environments change over time. I mean, to be quite honest, DC, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You could definitely see some inspiration from Ghost Tsushima in this game, which I don't think is a bad thing. I'll say that.
No, not at all. Not at all. When I say it, I don't. people think like I'm saying it as a slight, but let's be real. In this world, everyone you get inspired by things, you know?
Yeah,
Like I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
for sure.
Like
Yeah,
now if you just copy and just like straight copy and paste, but if you have these ideas and you put your own spin on it, I don't see anything wrong with that cuz we are seeing a resurgence of La Samurai, as I like to
yeah,
say.
and we're getting Ghost of Yote later this year too. So the
Yeah, you
sequel.
have it's a couple of other games I can't think of right off the top of my head that's kind of in that Japan era,
When
like
did
there's a
there was the other one, Rise of the Ronin. That was another one of the Ronin. When did that
mhm.
come out? Did that come out this year or was that last year? Yeah, that was March of last year. Almost a year to when Assassin's Creed came out. That's crazy. It feels like Ghost, but doesn't play like Ghost. If that makes sense. Yes, that does. So you said
Yeah,
okay.
they
So
put their
that's
little
assuming
spin on
that
it.
you don't just play straight story. And see, that's another thing. I've heard the game is like huge. Like some people are saying like it takes them between like 80 to 100 hours to beat the game, which is absolutely insane. That is insane. But once again, if
Mm.
that's what people are into, man, you know, I just wonder. I just want to know if with what they're doing right now with this subsidiary and breaking off their franchises, you know, if this is their signal to them wanting to do something different, or just like Darkstar literally just said, took the words out of my mouth. You know, by now y'all should know what an Assassin's Creed game is. How long is that going to be good enough for them? Because I mean, Assassin's Creed, God, man, when did the first one come out? Like, it's been around for a long time now, like 3 console generations now, at least. Assassin's Creed 1 release date 2007. It's been almost 20 years. That is
Well, when it comes to the
freaking
internet, Dark
nuts.
Star, I feel like I try not to take comments and people's thoughts on the internet too far because it seems like the internet is just a spear of negative thoughts. Like I think people just want to get their thoughts off just to be seen. There's never really a cohesive conversation to be had, and that's why I love doing this podcast, and because I do want to create them spaces where you can have a
Yeah.
intelligent conversation about things and not just be so
He
negative.
he
Like,
does bring up a good point though, because I just looked up Assassin's Creed Mirage.
mhm.
This was the game that came out before this one. It was a little bit smaller. This one came out 2023, so just like 2 years ago, and it reviewed well, but I don't think this one sold like super well. Let me see. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Mirage sales numbers. Let's see if we can find some numbers. Let's see. I don't even think they reported like actual sales numbers for this, which is unfortunate. Well, actually, there's this one article that says it surpassed 5 million players. You see what I mean, though? Players. What's the hard? Give me a hard number. Are we talking
I
about
think
people,
those.
you
Mhm.
know, like playing it on Ubisoft Plus, or are these people buying the game?
Mhm. And I think those side scroller Assassin's Creed games were very fun and people slept on them. If
Yeah,
you haven't played them, play them. You'll enjoy them. It was something different.
yeah,
You still has like stealth elements. It was just like a side scroller. They were in what was it? I think it was like one in Russia, India,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I actually enjoyed playing those.
A lot
They
of
were
it's
on
very
Game Pass. I
nitpicking.
wonder if they
Yeah,
still there.
I agree, man. A lot of people like nitpick, and then they'll take those nitpicks and they'll blow it up completely into a 10-minute video and be a grifter. And honestly, like, you know, what are we doing about Splinter Cell? Now that you guys gotten this money and spun off all your Tom
Ooh.
Clancy brands, what happened to that Splinter Cell remake y'all said y'all were making? Where the fuck is that? When are we gonna hear
Mm.
about when is this getting brought back? I think that now is a great time to bring back like spy games, and I would love to see Ghost Recon go back to like a tactical shooter. You know, kind of how Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare was. Graw 1 and 2 are my favorite Ghost Recon games. Full stop. Like, I would love for those types. I think the market needs those kind of games now where everything is hyper fast. You know, you got Marvel Rivals, you got Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, where kids are sliding all over the map, and even Halo Infinite to a point is a much faster game than the older ones are. You know, and I feel like maybe, you know, there's a chance for them to do that kind of stuff. Like I said, what now if they change anything about Assassin's Creed, I don't know, man. I doubt it. At least not with the next one. You know, I don't think there's enough time for them to do that. I think we'll probably still get that one. You know, if we are to get new consoles in 2027, I could see that first year of those consoles being out, we get an Assassin's Creed, whatever Assassin's Creed Hex ends up being. So I don't think they've said much about that. Assassin's Creed Hex, code name Hex. Yeah, we haven't heard anything about that one yet. I think since the announcement from a few years ago. So I mean, I guess we'll see. You know, we'll just—it's supposed to be
one of the pillars, man. Ubisoft is one of the pillars, man, and
yeah,
hopefully, you know, the battle rages on, and hopefully that they can come to some kind of conclusion to where everyone wins. And
I don't want them to go away, man. I don't want Ubisoft to disappear. I don't want them to continue to sell off their franchises, because who's to say they won't do this again with all the other franchises they own? Because they own quite a few IPs. And what if they're like,
and that's crazy. If in the grand scheme of things, if you think about it, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally selling off, because I'm so used. You get used to these games coming from where they come from, and it's just like, okay, you sell these things off, and do we not ever hear from them again? Or are they a former shell of themselves because the company who has them put out subpar like stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I mean, we have a lot of examples of that in the industry with studios going to different places under different management. Destiny, you know, like yeah, so you know, the fate is really shaky, and I just hope everybody, you know, kind of land on their feet. And as a gamer, I hope this, at the end of the day, I hope this really puts out, we get better games from it.
So yeah, I hope it pans out, man.
It's shaky
because they've really only become like a four game studio. For Honor, you know, Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry. It's really kind of all we've gotten from them in the last like 5-ish years. So, I mean, we'll just see what happens, you know. We'll find out the name of this Ubisoft majority-owned studio, I guess, in a few years, you know, by the end of the year, and see what they kind of end up doing with it. I thought it was interesting. I read something. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick before we wrap this up. It might actually be the end of the pod. I didn't realize we've been talking for as long as we have.
Oh well, you know, Nintendo. I got two things, and then Nintendo.
We might actually hold it until next week after the actual other direct.
Oh, do a 1 and 2. Yeah. Old direct, new direct.
I actually think that might not. I think that might not be a bad.
That's a spicy idea. Last direct, new direct.
Yeah. So yeah, here it is. I found it. So it says a 5-year lockup undertaking on new subsidiary shares held by Tencent, unless Ubisoft no longer owns a majority of new subsidiary voting rights and share capital. That is kind of scary, because that to me says, like, what if they continue to sell off shares to the subsidiary, and let's say Tencent's like, hey, we want another 10%. You know, let's get it up to 35. Oh man, y'all still selling? Let me get another 5 on that. Or, you know, eventually will Tencent just own these franchises? Like, I'm not saying Tencent's evil or nothing like that, but I'm just wary of companies that are aggressively buying franchises. Like, even Microsoft has kind of cooled off
because
since, you know, buying Activision.
You have the right
stuff,
to, though.
Yeah,
I think you have the right to feel that way, because not just gaming. I mean, outside of gaming, when companies do this, stuff usually fades to black.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, it usually just fades away and we never hear from it again. Or, like I said earlier, they make something that's a shell of itself. It doesn't really do too well. Then it fades away. Because you have these companies buying something and they think just because they can buy it that they can produce. And once they buy it and realize the work that goes into whatever that they bought, then they feel overwhelmed and then it just kind of disappears.
Yes.
So yeah, you have the right to feel the way you feel about that.
Or
Like I
they'll
feel the same
or
way.
they'll be like, "Hey, we got a really great idea for the next Assassin's Creed. We want it to be, I don't know, like it just be something
We want it to be
outrageous."
in the future with jetpacks and
Yeah.
ninja stars.
We want it to be modern times, that, people have been wanting forever, but I don't know. It worries me, man. I'm pulling for you, Ubisoft, as always, but I don't know where they go from here after giving up their biggest franchise as a piece of the pie that they kind of had to, I guess, which is
Church.
just unfortunate for the industry, man. But yeah, I think what we'll do, guys, we were gonna talk about that short direct that happened. Yes, the day before yesterday. I think it was Friday,
Thursday.
Thursday, Friday, whenever it was. We'll roll that into the Switch 2 direct next week because that one is
Because I feel like that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, because it's the first. That's next Wednesday. Okay, so it's the first like actual Switch 2 direct. I feel like we'll get pricing, maybe pre-orders or release date. I'm hoping. I'm hoping
it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a big reveal. Like I really do want to start covering more Nintendo stuff, and so we'll see, man. But yeah, I think that's a good place to Rapper and Dapper, man.
Ooh, Rapper and Dapper.
Yes, indeed, man. As always,
Soul
guys.
Clapper.
Ooh. All
right.
Yeah, the rumors are June. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. So I just want to say, man, thank you guys for hanging out today, as always, man. Like we said before, man, everybody's journey in life is different. Take it one day at a time. Lean on your tribe if you got to. If you don't have a tribe, you got one
keep
here.
Pushing.
Yeah, just keep pushing, man.
Keep pushing. Don't
every day doesn't have to be streets. Yeah, it don't have to be the greatest day of your life every day, but don't give up, man. I'm not gonna let y'all give up, chat.
Keep going.
So
you can do it.
Yes. I don't really have a whole lot, man. Thank y'all for hanging out. Like I said, I may stream Friday next week, this week. I'll keep you guys posted of all of that, just in case. Yeah, DC might actually be off work, so we might play some more Monster Hunter on stream. I don't really have much else other than that, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out, man. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of each other. And I'll see you guys on the other side. DC!
Yeah, baby. DC, baby. So, I'm not going to talk your ear off, but I do like to talk to you. All right, guys. You know what? You're really pissing me off, but that's fine. I've grown used to you pissing me off at the end of the show. But so, yeah, around 4 p.m. today, Eastern, gonna drop a playthrough. I'm gonna drop it. You know what? Screw all the waiting for perfection shit. I'm just gonna drop it because everything I set up in my OBS the other day disappeared. My scenes disappeared. And for some reason, OBS automatically did an update. I don't know what the hell's going on. My OBS is whooping.
You gotta turn that off. Yeah, you can turn automatic updates off.
Dude, all my scenes and stuff, I thought I had it going. Nice transitions. Wanted a little eye candy for my YouTube, and it's all gone. But I just decided that I'm just gonna hot drop this shit anyway, because I'm tired of waiting. We got a playthrough coming through. We got DC's Casual Corner, which will be dropping once a week. We're doing my first playthrough. I always wanted to do playthroughs. I always thought they were cool. I like to kind of watch people play games and just watch this, especially if I already saw the game. I like to see people's interactions when they play a game that I've already played. One of my favorite people to watch is Miranda. She's just so funny. Like, she's wholesome and yet evil at the same time. So she kind of inspired me to do like playthroughs, and we're going to be playing Schedule 1. I already did the first clip. I'm dropping it today. And when I tell you,
put your YouTube in the chat and Discord too.
Oh, when I tell you, it's gonna be a spinoff. It's gonna be, for now, it's gonna be under the super weapon. I just it's going to be a spinoff to that. It's going to be under there. It's just going to be under another playlist. You'll see it. But when I tell you the debauchery that this game is, this should be a very interesting playthrough. Oh my god, it is hilarious. This game is probably the funniest game I've ever played. And yet it's so detailed, but it's so stupid. It's a lot going on, man. But I'm excited to, do a little piece of content, my own little thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get it twisted. Always love the home team, and I love it here, and all that great stuff, man. So I'm not leaving the weapon. We are family here. But
nah, just keep.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I just want to do something a little something for me because, like I told Darius, he knows me. Like, if I'm not creating, my brain is probably gonna just die, and I'm just gonna be sad. So there's that. That's all I really have. Don't want to talk you guys to death. It's just a little fun little side series that spin off, if you will, or whatever the hell you want to call it. So just be on the lookout for that. I'll be dropping links in the Discord when new episodes come out. We're gonna do it once a week because that's manageable for me. If I can get 2 episodes off, I'll let you guys know in the Discord. So thank you for coming here, listening to us, and having a great time. As usual, guys, no games today. We're going to enjoy our Sundays. We hope that you enjoy your Sundays as well. Love on your loved ones, man. And remember, don't stay stagnant. Keep them feet moving. You might have one bad day, but I guarantee you there's more good days ahead.
I'm going to bother you until you have a good day. Ask my friends. They'll tell you.
I'm going to hug you. Big man hugs, chest to chest. Let's go.
All right, man. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out for the podcast, man. If you guys listen to the audio version, that's the end. If you guys are in chat, man, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. And I will see you later. Peace.
I'm hugging you.